Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, you're welcome to Sew with Mediva. And if you're a returning subscriber or a returning viewer, thank you for sticking to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to cut and sew this simple bubu dress that I'm wearing. And I achieved this style using 2.5 yards of African print fabric. But if you want yours longer, you're going to need about 3.5 yards. So if you find this video useful, if you find it helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. So let's jump right in. So I made use of 2.5 yards of African print fabric, but if you want yours longer, you're going to need about 3.5 yards. And I have my tape rule, my scissors and my chalk. So I have the fabric cut out already and we're cutting the front and the back together. So my fabric is a 2 patterned fabric, so I went ahead to just fold it into 2 so I can have that design in front. But if you're working with 2 different fabrics, you have to cut out 2 pieces for the front and 2 pieces for the back, and make sure either the right sides are facing each other or the wrong sides are facing each other. So the front panel is in a fold of 2, as you can see, while the back panel is also in a fold of 2. So to get the amount of fabric to fold, go ahead to divide the biggest part of your body, the biggest circumference of your body. So my round hip measurement is the biggest part of my body, which divided by 4 is 11.5 inches, and I added 5 extra inch to it, making 16.5 inches on fold. So to take the full length of this dress, I'll first of all mark out a straight line at the upper part of my fabric this way, which is going to serve as the shoulder line. So from that line, I'm going to come down to where I want my dress to stop. So I want mine to be 38 inches, but I have a full length of 39 inches here. The extra 1 inch is for folding. So for the neckline, I'll come over to the closed angle of the fabric. On that shoulder line, I'll place the wideness of the neckline, which is 3.5 inches for the front, because I'm still going to close it up. I'm going to open it and close it up in front. And then the depth of the front neckline is 7 inches because it's a V-shaped neckline. So I'll go ahead to connect it all the way up. And for the back neckline, I'm going to make use of 3 inches for the wideness. Since I'm not going to open up the center back, I'll make use of 3 inches. And then the depth of the back neckline is 1.5 inches. So I'll go ahead to connect it this way. So after that, I'll come over to the open angle of the fabric and come down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slope, and then connect it this way. So the next thing to do is to mark the armhole opening. So my round armhole measurements divided by 2 is 8 inches. I'm going to add 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. So I'll be making use of 10 inches for the armhole opening. Go ahead to mark your own appropriate measurement. And from that armhole point I marked, I'm going to come in by 1.5 inches and just connect it this way. So I'll go ahead to mark that 1.5 inches point and then connect it all the way down to the full length of the bubu gown. So connect it all the way down to the full length, and then on this area it out. So on the shoulder area, I'm going to add half an inch because of the joining allowance. Then I'll cut out the back neckline first. I'll open up the sides this way. And then I'll separate it and cut out the front neckline. So after cutting out, this is what we have. So I'm going to rip the center front opened because of the design that we want to create in front. So I'll go ahead to open up the center front this way. So after opening up, you're going to have 2 pieces of the front panel, and the 2 patterns are going to appear this way. 2 different patterns of fabric you're working with are going to appear this way. So this is what the front looks like, and this is what the back looks like. So the next thing we want to do is to create the design in front, and I'll be doing it on this other side. So I'm going to use this pattern to create a patch design on this other side, just as you can see on the thumbnail. So the first thing to do is to measure where you want that fabric to be. So from the center front, from the neckline, I'm going to come down by 4 inches. And then for the wideness of the fabric, the patch I want it to be 3.5 inches, but I'll mark 4 inches because of folding allowance. So I'll connect the 2 points together this way. And then for the shoulder area too, I will take 4 inches. So this is how wide I want my patch to be, and then connect the points together this way. So after doing that, I'm going to get the fabric I want to attach there and just place it on it this way, following that line I marked, and then cut out some of the excess fabric that I have. Just cut it out this way. After that, I'll use my pin to secure this fabric I just cut out now to my dress, making sure it is on that line that I have already marked. So after doing that, I'll flip the dress to the wrong side and then cut out the excess. I'll follow the shape of the neckline and cut out the excess fabric. On the right side, I want to cut out the exact length I need for this patch. So I'm going to just mark it this way. I'll fold it in this way and mark the point where I want it to stop, and then proceed to cut it out. So you can use your pattern paper to create this patch first before you cut on your fabric. You can just do it directly like I'm doing mine. So I'll shape out the remaining part. So after shaping and all of that, this is what it looks like. You can see that I've gone ahead to create that exact design I want in front. So right now I'll go ahead and fold in this edge and stitch it all the way down. Fold in half of an inch and stitch it down. I'll also fold the lower part and stitch it down. I'll close up the neckline and the sides, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after stitching down the patch to one side of the fabric, this is what it looks like. You can see how beautiful it looks already. The next thing is to join the two pieces together. So I'm going to place them right side facing each other this way, and then go ahead to join the center front all the way down. So when I'm done doing that, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So after closing up the center front, this is what it looks like. So if your fabric is not like mine, remember that you also have to close up the back panel just like this. So on the wrong side, go ahead to open up the seam area this way and then iron it out so that it lays down flat. This is going to give it a very neat look on the right side. So the next thing we want to do now is to work on the facing for the neckline. So I'm gonna head to cut out the facing I'll be using to turn over the front neckline. So to cut this out, you're going to just place the neckline of your dress on the fabric you want to use as the facing. Go ahead to trace out the neckline and add about 1.5 inches to the side and cut it out. So place the right side of the facing on the neckline this way. And starting from the midpoint, go ahead to join the facing to the neckline all the way up. Go ahead to stitch it together. So when I'm done, I'll use that same method to cut out the facing for the back. I'll stitch it to the neckline, and then I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So guys, after I stitch down the facing to the neckline, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to start to notch the seam area. Go ahead to make small cuts on the seam area all the way around it before you turn it over to the wrong side. So after making the cuts, I'm going to then flip the fabric over to the wrong side this way and then go ahead to iron it so that it lays down flat. So after turning over, go ahead to iron it so that it lays down flat. And then after ironing, you're going to get your hemming gum, because we don't want any threads to show on the right side. You're going to take your hemming gum. This is what a hemming gum looks like, and then you place it under the fabric and go ahead to iron it. So the heat from your iron is going to melt the hemming gum, and then it holds your fabric firm. You guys understand? Iron it so that it holds it firm, and do the same thing for the other side. So when I'm done doing that, I'll repeat the same process for the back neckline. I'll notch it and then iron it out before putting my hemming gum. So when I'm done finishing the neckline, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after I turned over the facing to the wrong side, this is what it looks like. I've also used the hemming gum to seal it up, just like I explained earlier, so you can see how neat the wrong side looks. And for the back panel, I have also finished up the neckline just like I explained, and this is what we have. So before we join the front and the back panels together, we're going to insert the fabric for the pockets, and I'm gonna head to cut it out. So for the dimension of this fabric, the wideness is 8 inches while the depth is 10 inches. So I'm going to get the front panel, and I cut out 4 pieces of this fabric. So I'm going to get the front panel now and then come down from the shoulder point to 19 inches. You can do 18, you can do 20 inches. It just depends on the height of the person. For mine, I made use of 19 inches. And then I'm going to take one piece of the fabric and place the right side facing my dress this way. I'll use my pin to hold it down and then go ahead to stitch it together using half an inch. I'll repeat the same process for the other side. From the highest point of the shoulder, I'll come down by 19 inches. I'll mark that point and just place the fabric on it this way and then go ahead to stitch it down. So I'm going to repeat the same process on the back panel. I'll come down by 19 inches and then go ahead to stitch down the fabric for the pocket on it this way. Repeat the same thing on the other side. So all four sides now have that pocket fabric. So after stitching down the fabric to it, I'll come back and show you guys how to close up the sides. Let me go ahead to stitch down the pockets, the fabric for the pockets. So after stitching down the fabric for the pocket on the dress, this is what it looks like. The next thing we want to do is to join the shoulder areas together. So I'm going to place the back panel and the front panel right sides facing each other this way, and then I'll merge the shoulder areas. So using that half an inch that I added while I was cutting out, I'll go ahead to close it up on this side and also close it up on the other side. So after doing that, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So after closing up the shoulders, before we close up the sides, we'll have to finish up the sleeve area. So I've gone ahead to cut out this fabric. So I'm going to place it right sides facing each other this way and go ahead to stitch it down. When I'm done, I'll fold it in on the wrong side and also stitch it down. So I'll repeat the same process for the other side, the other sleeve. I'll place the fabric on it this way and go ahead to stitch it and turn it over. When I'm done doing that, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So after I finished up the sleeve area, this is what it looks like on the wrong side. I've gone ahead to iron it out. And for the other side, I did the same thing, and this is what it looks like. So the next thing we want to do is to close up the side of this dress, and I'm going to flip the front and the back facing each other now, making sure the right side are facing each other. I'm going to arrange it this way. I'll arrange the pocket fabrics too, making sure they are facing each other this way, and then using my 1-inch seam allowance, I'm going to go ahead and stitch it closed. When I get to, so I'll raise my footer up. When I get to that pocket area, I'll close up the pocket, and when I get to this side, I'll raise the footer up again and go ahead to close up this side. I'll turn the fabric and close up the remaining part. So I'll repeat the same process on the other side. Using the 1-inch seam allowance, I'll arrange it this way, making sure all the sides are facing each other. Arrange the pocket fabrics to also face each other and close it up. When I get to this pocket area, I'll raise the footer up, turn the fabric, and then close the pocket to the other side, and then proceed to close up all the way to the base. So I'll fold in the base twice and stitch it all around when I'm done. So after closing up the sides, this is what it looks like. So before I turn it over to the right side, I'm going to notch this curved area. You're going to cut the seam opened so that it relaxes well on the right side when you turn it over. I'll repeat the same thing on this other side. I'll cut that armhole area open this way and then proceed to flip it over now to the right side. So I have also finished up the base like I explained earlier. I folded in and stitched it all around it. So when I turn over to the right side, this is what the bubu looks like. So you can see how relaxed that curved area looks. So right now you can proceed to attach your tassels to the point where you want it to be. So just mark out the point where you want to attach your tassels and then hand stitch it to your bubu. It is that simple. So these are the pockets on the side of the bubu. So this is what we end this video for today. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel.